Hello guys, this is Raptormon132 here and welcome to my latest update video. Yep, as you can see, I've got a webcam, as you see right now, so I can now talk to you guys face to face. And yep, this is what Raptormon132 really looks like. Not like that black screen you're used to seeing on Daily Motion. But anyway, am I more good-looking or less good-looking than I sound? Who cares anyway? Today, I'm not here to talk about my looks. Today, I'm about to give you the latest updates on my channel, and I also want to do a proper post-season wrap-up to the first season of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, as I've done the blind commentaries. Before I start, I'd like to give a special thanks for 3 YouTube users. I'd like to thank Zebriax, Narrator007, and Shamel1995. I'd like to thank those 3 for giving my channel a shout out and helping my channel to grow. So, and also want to give the announcements that I'm not only going to be doing blind commentaries but other videos as well. But first, I want to do my very actual season wrap-up of MLP, and so, but I won't be doing it. My OC will be taking over. You're up, OC. Thank you, Raptormon. Hello, guys. This is Raptormon132 OC here, and welcome to the latest update. OC, I've already covered that part. Oh. Oops. I guess I forgot about that part. So anyway, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am Raptormon132's official MLP OC for his channel. You also might recognize me as his official character on his latest video song cover of Whispering Grass, which surprises me. I didn't know Raptormon was even capable of singing. But then again, he is hoping to become an actor in live action and voiceover in life. So if I think about it, it's not really much of a surprise at all. Especially if he's providing his own voice to voice me. What a nice guy he is doing that for me. Wait a sec. If I have Raptormon's voice, and Raptormon does the voice of me, then...
Oh my Alicorn Princess! This means I'm his first official character he voices! Oh huzzah! This is amazing! Sorry guys, I guess I got carried away. So anyway, most of you have probably realized by now that I am actually an alicorn, like Princess Celestia and Princess Luna.
I guess he did that because of the fact that alicorns reign supreme in Equestria, in both authority and magical might.
Besides the fact that the one character he relates to the most is actually an alicorn. Or soon will be.
And last but not least, you've probably noticed my cutie mark on my flank, or butt symbol as it were to him.
I'm sorry guys, but that is actually pretty funny. So anyway, in case you're wondering what talent this represents, it is my creator's YouTube channel's icon, which is in fact the crest of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V monsters called the Raid Raptors, which you all know by now that he is a major player of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. Also, my colors are based on the Raid Raptors crest itself. And that, guys, is the story behind my cutie mark. But that's enough about me. I have more important things to do than talk about myself in this video all day, like doing the Season 1 wrap-up of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, which you all know he's been doing blind commentaries on for the last 10 months. Now in this review, take note that I am actually saying this as if I were him in this review. Now without further ado, let us begin, shall we? It all started way back when I started watching the episode Starscream vs Rainbow Dash in the series of ScrewAttack.com called Death Battle. Then sometime later, a friend of mine from the Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments that I attended to, who was a brony at the time, introduced me to the show, and said to me that I should watch it because of Tara Strong being there. But at first I was thinking that it was not going to be a good thing, like if it was going to be the biggest mistake of my life. So that was when I decided that I was going to watch the show, but at the same time record my reaction due to a certain craze that I found while searching on the internet. And thus the blind reactor that you all know as Raptormon132 made himself known to the world, and later on became the creation of me. But sadly, due to copyright issues, I couldn't post my work on YouTube for everyone else to see and enjoy, which resorted me to having to post them on a different website to at least get noticed by others on YouTube or otherwise. Boy, what a really sad day that really was. Well, I guess it's better than nothing, I suppose. Anyway, the main reason I started to watch the series was because I was mainly curious. Curious to find out exactly why even adult males were captivated by this popular TV series. But like I mentioned before, at first I was like, no way I'm gonna be watching that, that's for girls. I ain't watching 1 second, not 1 second of it. Did that certain phrase ring a bell? If it did, then most likely it was something you too had said before you started watching the series. To my surprise, I discovered that the show was not as girly as I expected it would be. So after manning up and watching a few episodes of the show, I decided that I was going to give the show the benefit of the doubt. But let me tell you what really changed my mind. Now, the first thing I want to start off with in this review is the main characters. Now, who should I start with first? Aha, I know. I'll start with the one that I was first introduced to, Rainbow Dash, voiced by the talented voice actress and lead singer of Hey Ocean, Ashley Ball. Now, Rainbow Dash is a tomboyish Pegasus pony who represents the element of loyalty. She is also, like I said, the very first character I was first introduced to. In fact, the very first thing that I first thought of when I first saw her was another character I'm familiar with, Sonic the Hedgehog. In fact, apart from their difference in species, gender, and colors, they're actually pretty much the same. That's if you ever thought about it that way. So anyway, from what I know of her, Rainbow Dash works as Ponyville's weather control manager. She also has the dream of joining the Wonderbolts, who are kind of like the Blue Angels. But between you and me, I reckon they would look good as a Quidditch team. Anyway, from what else I know of her, Rainbow Dash is also a little bit of a daredevil who likes to do stunts just to impress the Wonderbolts, which kind of almost all the time makes her have as many crashes as Launchpad McQuack and DuckTales. Which, if you ever thought about it, they kinda do have the same amount of misplaced bravado as each other. So guys, that's pretty much all I can say about Rainbow Dash. She's a great character with great attitude, and that's why I class her as the tough tomboy of the main six. So guys, let's move on to the next character. Hey, wait a second, I just realized that I'm an alicorn. And as I recall, alicorns can use magic just like unicorns can. Yeah, so why don't I change it with my magic? Besides, I haven't used magic before, and I think this is a good opportunity for me to test it out. And with you guys watching, I think it will be a great idea to show off my powers. Alright, that settles it. I'm going to use my magic to change the character picture. Just give me a second. Haha! I did it! This is so awesome! Anyway, the next character that I'm going to do, as you see, is Applejack, who is also voiced by Ashley Ball. Now, Applejack is an earth pony who represents the element of honesty. She is hardworking, dependable, and very down to earth. She also works as a farmer at her own home and orchard of Sweet Apple Acres, along with her other family members, her grandmother, Granny Smith, her older brother, Big Macintosh, and her youngest sister, Apple Bloom. Where her mother and father are, I do not know, but I speculate, like many other fans do, that they have most likely have died. Come to think of it, that is actually sort of sad. Poor Applejack. But I guess despite the tragic loss of her parents, she's really got a heart of gold. In fact, the way that she went through in life kinda reminds me of someone I once knew, and that is my grandfather. But to be quite honest, that's not what I first thought when I first saw Applejack. The very first thing I thought of when I first saw her was country music singer Dolly Parton. In fact, if you remember way back on my very first reaction to the show, I stated that she was named after Dolly Parton's song, and even looked like her. The very song that I talk about is actually on Dolly Parton's 1977 album, New Harvest, First Gathering. If you want to listen to the song, please pause the video and click up on the link here that I have just put up. So guys, now that you've heard the song, do you now understand my suspicion of Dolly Parton and her song being the blueprints to MLP's Applejack? Despite that the song is actually about an old man, not a woman. And I have my doubts that Lauren Hurst herself will ever admit that she did base Applejack on Dolly Parton's song too. But that's enough of that. Let's continue with the review, shall we? Despite her being very kind, helpful, and reliable, she tends to let her pride and her sense of tradition get the better of her at times. This was shown in episode 4, known as Applebuck Season. And let me tell you, she was as stubborn as a mule. No offense to you, mate.
None taken.
Sorry guys, couldn't resist doing that joke. Anyway, the other thing I forgot to mention is that she also comes from a very large, extensive family. I'll even name them all for you. There's Apple Fritter, Apple Bumpkin, Red Galah, Red Delicious, Golden Delicious, Caramel Apple, Apple Strudel, Apple Tart, Baked Apples, Apple Brioche, Apple Cinnamon Crisp, and her Aunt and Uncle Orange. Oh yes, and let's not forget about good old Brayburn all the way in... Appaloosa! And bear in mind, that's probably not even close to half of how big her family must be. So guys, at the end of my analysis of Applejack, I class her as the country girl of the main six, the hard-working country girl type. A very relatable character that many can relate to, including myself. Right, so let's move on to the next one, shall we? Okay guys, the next one I'm going to review is none other than Rarity, voiced by Canadian voice actress Tabitha St. Germain, also known as Paula Gillis. Now Rarity is a unicorn pony who represents the element of generosity. She is stylish, beautiful, and often acts in a sophisticated manner. She also works as a fashion designer and a seamstress at her own dressmaking shop in Ponyville, Carousel Boutique, which is also her home. She also has a little sister named Sweetie Belle, who I think is so adorable, especially when she squeaks. Rarity also has a tendency of being a hysterical drama queen at times. She hysterically makes references and quotes from old style films at times too. Movies like Grand Hotel and Gone with the Wind.
Where would I go? And what would I pack?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
You see what I mean? But I guess only the adults would be able to get that reference. Anyway, she also has a tendency of attracting other males to do her bidding, especially one certain other character, but I'll get to him later. She also has the magical ability to find gems underground, a special kind of magic that pretty much everybody wishes they had. And although Rarity may show to be a bit of a damsel in distress at times, she actually really isn't, as was shown when she was able to hold her own against a manticore in episode 2 of season 1, and was able to trick the Diamond Dogs by putting on a knack to help her escape from their grasp. So guys, that about covers it for my analysis of Rarity. And as my final statement on Rarity, I class her as the glamorous, pristine drama queen of the main six. Well then, let's move on to the next one. Alright guys, the next one up is Fluttershy, voiced by Canadian voice actress Andrea Lidman. Now Fluttershy is a Pegasus pony that represents the element of kindness. She is sweet, cute, gentle and kind, and is often very shy and timid around others. However, she can become forceful and assertive if her friends are placed in any danger, but can often be afraid of some causes. She lives in a cottage near the Everfree Forest just outside of Ponyville, where she also works as a vet and an animal caretaker. Fluttershy loves and cares for all animals and is willing to help them at any cost. In fact, the way that she cares for animals and creatures reminds me of another character that I know of, and that is the groundskeeper of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, Rubeus Hagrid. In fact, if Fluttershy and Hagrid were ever to meet each other, I think those two would become instant best friends, don't you? And if Fluttershy was ever to be a teacher at Hogwarts, she would be perfect for the role of care of magical creatures, alongside with Rubeus Hagrid. She also possesses a special ability known as the Stare, which allows her to intimidate even the fiercest of animals to the point of complete and total obedience. Animals like chickens, or on one occasion, a cockatrice. Although it was never proven that she used the Stare on the dragon in Dragonshy, it is implied that she did. It is also unknown if she did use the Stare on Opal, but even though she did deny it, some speculate, but it is still unknown. Keep in mind that out of the 4 different animals we've seen be given the Stare, we've seen 2 of them stared, 1 of them is implied to have been stared, and the last one is simply unknown. But I do believe that the Stare does have a weakness, but mind you, it is only a theory and it's not proven, but it's my theory of what its weakness is. My theory is that the Stare's only weakness is to a certain kind of weapon, and that weapon would be so obvious it will amaze you. A mirror. From what I see of her ability the Stare, she has to be looking at you face to face in order to use it. So logically, if someone were to use a mirror against her, it would deflect it back at her. I don't know for sure what would happen if Fluttershy got her Stare reflected back at her, but whatever happens, I don't think it would be pretty. So if any of you decide to irritate Fluttershy to the point of her using the Stare, be sure to have a mirror on you at all times. So guys, that about covers it for my analysis of the character Fluttershy. And as my final analysis, I class her as the stereotyped, skittish, timid, shy girl in the corner. Right, so let's move on to the next one, shall we? Now this one should be fun. For the next one up is none other than Pinkie Pie. Now Pinkie Pie is an earth pony that represents the element of laughter. She is hyperactive, random, a bit sensitive, and occasionally insensitive, and quite silly, but is also quite friendly and very kind. Oh, of course, how could I have forgotten? Andrea Lidman does her voice too, which means Fluttershy and Pinkie Pie share something in common. Anyway, she also works as a baker, connoisseur and confectioner at Ponyville's bakery and confectionery shop, Sugar Cube Corner, where she lives just above, along with Sugar Cube Corner's owners, Cupcake and Carrot Cake. That's Mr. and Mrs. Cake to you. But she is best known by her friends and the rest of the community for being a professional party planner, as well as holding her signature Pinkie Pie parties. She also loves to pull pranks, sometimes with Rainbow Dash's help, though she refuses to play any on Fluttershy due to her sensitive nature. She's also been known to break the 4th wall and break the laws of physics, like the Looney Tunes or SpongeBob SquarePants. She also possesses the Pinkie Sense, an ability to predict events in the immediate future through various physical reactions of various parts of her body, like ear flopping, itchy back, itchy nose, and the famous twitchy tail. Phew. Sorry guys, but every time I even mention about the twitchy tail, I'm always looking up and looking alert. So guys, that about covers it for my analysis on Pinkie Pie. And as my final thoughts on her, I class her as the naive, hyperactive case of the main six. Alright, let's move on. Hey, I'm getting pretty good at this magic stuff. Just like this next character, Twilight Sparkle. Now Twilight is a unicorn pony that represents the element of magic, who later becomes an alicorn later in the series. And yes, I know what you're all going to say. You're going to tell me that Twilight becoming an alicorn was the biggest spoiler in the series for me. But I guess you all have the right to know how did I find out. Some of the blame goes to the very friend that got me into the series in the first place. You see, he showed me a couple of scenes from the series before I started watching it. One scene included Twilight Sparkle being an alicorn in one certain scene. But like I said before, it wasn't the only reason. The one responsible for revealing this spoiler to me was none other than television. About 1 or 2 years ago, I was sitting down one morning watching TV. Then all of a sudden, during the advert break, there was an advert of My Little Pony toys being advertised, which was not uncommon because many toy advertisements are usually shown in the mornings. Anyway, the toy that was being advertised was an alicorn princess toy of Twilight Sparkle, along with some animation things that were from the show, but I didn't really think much of it at the time because I wasn't into the show back then. Then a month or so before I started reacting to the show, this very friend of mine showed me a few scenes. One involved Twilight as an alicorn fighting this big hulking bull type creature. And the fight scene kinda looked like something out of Dragon Ball Z. So now you guys understand how I know about Twilight becoming an alicorn. I also did some research on the net and I found an ad that was closest to the one I saw in the TV. If you want to see the ad, pause the video and click up on the link here that I have provided. Right, now that we've got that out of the way, let's continue, shall we? Twilight Sparkle is voiced by famous Canadian voice actress Tara Strong, who you might recognize as Timmy Turner from Fairly Odd Parents, Ben from Ben 10, or Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls. And not to mention Princess Clara from Drawn Together, who also has the same voice as Twilight. Anyway, Twilight Sparkle is the prize pupil of Equestria's ruler, Princess Celestia, and is very gifted and talented with magic, much like Hermione Granger from Harry Potter. In fact, if you ever compare the two characters, they are remarkably similar with one another. How is that, you may ask? Well, I'll tell you. Well, first off, they're both brainiacs. Second, they are both talented, powerful, and quite clever with their magic. And third, they both have a fascination of reading books. In fact, I should add that they also have the same personality trait. When in doubt, go to the library. For these reasons is precisely why I'd like to see both Hermione and Twilight engage each other in a future episode of Death Battle. Anywho, Twilight resides in Ponyville's local library known as the Golden Oak Library, which is built inside a tree, hence why the library's called the Golden Oak. She also works inside the library along with her faithful assistant, Spike, who is a little baby dragon. In fact, while we're on the subject, I better tell you a bit about Spike. Spike is a little baby dragon that Twilight hatched when she was only a little filly, to which he has assisted and lived with his whole life since then. He is voiced by Canadian voice actress Kathy Westluck. Spike is very fond of Twilight and is there for her whenever he is needed, like doing chores and assisting Twilight in practicing her magic, as well as sending the occasional letter to Princess Celestia with his magical fire breath. He also has an undeniable and undiscreet crush on the unicorn pony Rarity, which you guys probably now know who the mystery male is that Rarity takes advantage of. Anyway, in case if you guys didn't realize, Spike is a recreation of his G1 counterpart. In fact, I actually want to confess something. What I want to confess is that I used to watch My Little Pony when I was a kid, but the only thing I ever watched of the series was the 1986 movie, and that was all I ever watched of the franchise, or at least it was, until G4, which is now. even though I probably never said it in my first blind reaction. But that's kind of how I knew about Spike and how he was a dragon. Anyway, that's all I can say about the character Spike. Now, without further ado, let's continue about Twilight, shall we? Twilight Sparkle is considered the leader and the smart one of the main six. And by smart, I actually mean the type that uses books in almost every situation you could think of. No joke, she reads books about running, she reads books about love potions. Heck, she even owns a book about slumber parties titled Slumber 101. Everything you ever wanted to know about slumber parties but were afraid to ask. And what makes that so funny is that it is based on a book and movie titled Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Sex but Were Afraid to Ask. Anyway, the way they portrayed Twilight's character in the series is on a stereotypical nerd, or as John Bender would say, what was it called again?
You're a neo-maxi zoom dweeby.
Ah yes, that's it. Thanks, Bender. Actually, on second thought, I really shouldn't have said that. And there's a very good reason for it too. The reason is that I relate to Twilight Sparkle the most out of the main six. I relate to all of the main six, but Twilight is the one that reaches out to me the most. And here's why. On my first blind reaction, when I first saw her, I stated that she reminded me so much of myself. And the reason she reminded me of myself was because of the way she was rejecting friendship and thinking everyone was crazy, was just like seeing an image of myself and how I thought of My Little Pony and the brony community. Then, as I watched the series further, I noticed similar things of Twilight that I could compare to with myself. Like expecting the worst if something doesn't go according to her plan, or how she has trouble fitting in with others. These are just some of the things that I can relate to with Twilight. And with her personality, I actually suspect something about Twilight. What I suspect is that Twilight is possibly autistic, and it's kind of ironic too. Because, believe it or not, I too am autistic. In fact, sometime in future, I actually hope to make a video which involves the speculation of Twilight Sparkle and another character of being autistic. So in the end, I shouldn't be calling Twilight Sparkle a neo-maxi zoom dweeby or a stereotypical nerd. I should be comparing her with myself. So really, in the end, I should be taking every bad thing I said about her back. So guys, that about covers it for my review on all 7 of the main characters. Now for the moment you've all been waiting for. After watching Season 1, you're probably all wondering, what do I think of the series so far? Well, here's my answer. I love it! To me, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is like 4 franchises put into one. Those 4 franchises are Looney Tunes, Disney, Harry Potter, and the Raccoons. Like Looney Tunes, it has cartoonish comedy and a character that constantly reaches the 4th wall. And I have to admit that the cartoonish comedy really makes me laugh. It reminds me of my old childhood. And also, like Looney Tunes, they make references to various other franchises. Like Disney, it has that welcoming family fun charm that even adults like, and has great musical numbers that adults and kids alike can enjoy as well. Like the Harry Potter series, it has elements of magic and mythology, as well as excitement, adventure, danger, and how friendship and love can defeat even the most darkest and dangerous of foes. Not to mention there are also parallels of MLP that parallel to the Harry Potter series. But that's another topic to hopefully be told another time. And finally, like the Raccoons, it has heart warmth, relatable characters, comedy and drama, and as well as slice of life lessons that adults and children alike can learn. And here's some interesting facts. MLP and the Raccoons were both filmed in Maple Country, Canada. So now you guys see, in my opinion, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is like all 4 of those franchises mixed together in a blender and served as a smoothie. Speaking of which, I'm kinda getting hungry myself. But I've got to finish this review first before I can do anything. Anyway, on the last episode of Season 1, I actually said to you guys that I've decided that I would be a fan of the series after all. So in a way, I would actually be as what you guys would call a brony. But you know, when I think about it, I guess it was kind of unavoidable. Because in my childhood, I used to love the My Little Pony movie of 1986. And if that's the case, I kind of was a brony to begin with. Am I right? At any rate, I was able to confront the very friend of mine that got me into the series in the first place, and I specifically said that he was to blame for the entire thing, getting back into the show and watching it and liking it, and it was entirely his fault. And his response to what I said to him was completely unexpected. But I suspect it was his plan all along to get me part of what the bronies call the herd. So as a result, I'm actually going to be a brony. But, unlike many bronies, I'm not going to be collecting the merchandise or anything like that outside the internet. Unless I was going to meet the actors of the show, and I got them to sign a picture of the characters or character they do in the show. Then I would collect the merchandise. Or to be specific, the autograph merchandise. So outside the internet, I am actually going to be one of those bronies that keeps it quiet, and only tell those that I really trust. In other words, like a Z-fighter, I am going to mask my power level to avoid detection from their scouters. So I am going to be a fan, but one of those ones that doesn't like to show it off. In other words, a closet brony. But that doesn't mean I don't like any other shows as well. Because as you all know, being a fan of another show or franchise is adding something, it isn't subtracting. And to that, I've added My Little Pony Friendship is Magic straight onto the list of all the shows that I like and watch. So there you have it, guys. That is Raptormon Season 1 wrap-up of MLP. This is my very first time reviewing things, so I hope I wasn't too boring for all of you. Or my name is definitely not OC. Wait, OC? That isn't... Is that really my real name? I wonder. Hey, Raptormon, what is my real name?
Your real name? Oh, I didn't think of that. Well, since you have the Raid Raptor's crest on your flank, why don't we simply call you Raid Raptor?
Raid Raptor? Yeah, I guess that could work out. And it's kind of appropriate too, considering I have the Raid Raptor's crest as my cutie mark. So yeah, I think I'll call myself Raid Raptor. Well guys, I think I better be going now. I'm pretty hungry after all that reviewing, and I could definitely go for a nice slice of Applejack's apple pie. Well, Raptormon, looks like they're all yours again.
Thank you, OC. I mean, Raid Raptor. You did a very good job. I'm very proud of you.
Thanks, Raptormon. It was a lot of fun, and it was nice meeting you all too. Well, I gotta go. I'll see you all later. Bye.
My OC. He is quite a character, isn't he? I have actually chosen... Well, I have to admit I never actually considered his name, but I now came up with it. And although I haven't thought of his backstory yet, might have to think about that too. But whatever it is, I hope it's going to be good. Anyway, now that the Season 1 wrap-up is over, I'm going to give you the latest updates of my channel. First of all, I'm actually got some sad news for you. The sad news that I want to give you is that I'm actually going to be cancelling one of my blind commentaries. And don't worry, it's not MLP. It is actually Adventure Time. I'm going to be cancelling that, and the reason I'm cancelling that is because of poor ratings. Yeah, apparently it's not getting many good ratings, so I'm going to sadly be cancelling it. But I'm going to do one more episode, and then after that I'm going to cancel it. But don't worry, I have something else to take its place. Three shows to be exact. So I'm actually going to be reacting to 3 new shows. 2 of them were suggested to me by my friend DCR's Hero. The 3 shows I'm going to be reacting to are Kirby Back At Ya, Sword Art Online, and Star Wars Rebels. Yep, I'm going to be blind reacting to those 3 shows. Very popular ones. So if you were thinking it was going to be Steven Universe or Gravity Falls, I actually don't want to react to those. So I'm going to be reacting to those 3 shows. Although one of them is actually a little bit of a risk, and that's Sword Art Online. My friend DCR's Hero did tell me about it, and he said that I could get some haters or likes, but I don't know unless I try, so I'm going to react to that and see what happens. Oh, also, I have a special announcement that I'm actually going to not only do blind commentaries, but other things as well. Because, actually, before I go into that, I've actually realized, like, helping my channel grow, I've noticed that I don't have many subscribers, and I think I know, like many other blind reactors do, and I think I know the reason why. The reason I think that is because of my recording method. You know how you see blind reactors, when they react to shows, they have a screen, and then they have like the video right in a small version of the video right in the corner. Well, the thing is, I don't have the equipment or the editing software to actually do that, and the only editing software I do know about to do it is Sony Vegas Pro, but that is actually quite expensive. It costs about $800, American or Australian, I don't really know, but about $800. So I'm going to have to save up to get that, but until then I'm going to have to use my old method, which is posting the video on Dailymotion and then posting the link video on YouTube, you know, to avoid copyright. And anyway, next thing I want to announce is that I'm not only going to be doing blind reactions, but I'm also going to be doing other things as well to help my channel grow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do, as one is already is song covers, which I've actually got 2 of them on. One was Whispering Grass, and the other one was the How Come How Long, the tribute for Keyframe. Yeah, so as you all know, I'm going to do those. The other things I'm going to be trying to do is analyst videos. Like there'll be MLP and non-MLP analyst videos. So I'm going to attempt that. And I'm also going to attempt to do dramatic readings, like dramatic readings from the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic fandom. So I'm going to do dramatic readings. And other thing I hope to do is start a new series that I'm going to call Raptormon's Stories of My Life. Yeah, that's a new series that I'm going to plan to do. It's basically what the series is. It's going to be a series about stories of my life, like whether they're funny, whether they're sad, whether they're traumatic, or scary, or creepy, or anything in between, or a mix. Yeah, so I'm going to try to do that. And I might be doing other videos as well. And yeah, so I'm going to do dramatic readings, analyst videos, and new series known as Raptormon Stories of My Life, or something like that. I might come up with a better title. But yeah. And the reason I'm going to do analyst videos is because I'm actually subscribed to two brony analysts. And you probably all know them. There's Dr. Wolf 101 and the Brony Notion. I'm subscribed to those two brony analysts. And yeah, so I'm going to attempt to do that. And plus I might even do reviews and stuff with a friend of mine, DCRS Hero, because he's opened up a new channel, which is DCRS Reviews, and I'm going to appear as a guest on his channel sometimes, maybe. I even appear as guests on his Yu-Gi-Oh pack openings and stuff like that. So yeah, if you want to check. If you want to check out DCRS Hero's new channel, DCRS Reviews, you can. I'll leave a link in the description below, so you can check him out. And who knows, maybe you might see me on there. But I'll probably post a video to tell the info. So yeah, So guys, that is my my update video. So yeah, and it's pretty long, and it's probably the longest thing I ever did, and I hope you enjoyed it. So yeah, and as usual, I'll close off with this. I hope you enjoyed my season 1 update video, and hopefully I shall release another video as soon as I can when I get the chance, when I'm not too busy with anything else. But as usual, until then, thank you all for watching. This is Raptormon132 saying bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.